the special meeting at 8:10 a.m. and thank you for your attendance. We just might break while we wait for papers to come. We'll just adjourn. Well, we'll continue with the meeting. Do we have some wording to go? Oh no, we'll have to do apologies. I'd like to move a leave of absence for Councillor O'Neill. Do we have a seconder for that motion? Councillor Edwards. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We'll go to the vote. All those in favour?
Yes.
8-0. Okay, moving on. If there is no other business, do we have some wording to use to go into close?
We've got two open items, Mr Mayor.
You want to do them first? Okay. Item 6.1, professional development training.
Thank you.
Professional development training, 6.1. All councillors had a chance to read this?
No. I was out, so can I?
Right, okay, we'll just adjourn for a minute while we read this. Item 6.1, professional development training. Do we have a mover? Councillor McMullen.
Mr Mayor, I'll move that Council endorses the submission of an expression of interest for councillors who have indicated an interest in participating in this professional development training.
We have a seconder? I'll second that. Is there any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak to it? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour?
Yes.
Sorry, 8-0. Thank you, Councillor Burkett. Moving on to 6.2. Item 6.2, request for letter of support. Councillor Edwards.
I'd like to move that Council endorse the letter of support from the Mayor on behalf of Council to the requesting organisation for their grant application to expand their facility at the Roma Airport.
We have a seconder, Councillor Ladbrook. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour?
Yes.
8-0. Okay, now I think it would be a good time if we go into closed. We'll see one. Do we have any wording? Councillor McMullen.
Mr Mayor, I'll move in accordance with the provisions of section 275 of the Local Government Regulation 2012. A local government may resolve to close a meeting to the public to discuss confidential items that is...
Excuse me, Councillor McMullen, the CEO.
Sorry, Councillor McMullen, that's the old section.
Oh.
Yeah, we just need to quote the new section. For some reason, the template's picked up.
I thought I was going so good. You're on. I picked it up.
254J.
It wasn't on it. If I lose that.
Yeah, it's quoting 275, Cal. That's the old one. The template's picked up the
Where?
old reference.
Yeah, but we've got to go into close first.
Sorry, I put it on the screen. It's not on the screen.
So do we have some wording so we can read it out?
There it is. Okay, Mr Mayor, I'll start again.
Please go ahead.
In accordance with the provisions of section 254J3 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, I move that Council resolve to close the meeting to the public to discuss the confidential item C1 and C2, preliminary organisational structure based on Mayor's proposal in preparation for stage 2 of the employment consultation.
Employee consultation.
Employee consultation, sorry, and
C2, tabling feedback received from council's consideration of answers to queries.
And C1 is the detailed stage.
Oh, detailed stage,
Yeah.
sorry, and the detail stage.
And the overview that we could use is for C1, tabling a draft structure based on the mayor's parameters. And C2, the overview is tabling feedback and identifying where councillors' input is required to answer questions from employees and their representatives about the mayor's and councillors' proposed structure. If you're happy with that,
Yeah, I'm
Councillor
happy with that,
McMullen.
thank you.
Okay, do we have a seconder? Councillor Guthrie. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour?
Yes.
8-0. Okay, do we have a mover?
Okay.
C1, preliminary organisational structure based on Mayor's proposal in preparation for stage 2 of the employee consultation detail stage. Do we have a mover? But I'd like to move that council formally receive the draft detailed organisational structure document based on the Mayor's parameters and as distributed to councillors on the 11th of December 2020, noting that the document will be formally considered by council again on Monday 21st of December 2020. 2, note the initial table summarising possible impacts on various groups of employees and authorise the Chief Executive Officer and relevant senior officers to undertake preliminary discussions with relevant employees. 3, approve the limited use of the draft and detailed organisational structure to assist in the preliminary discussions with relevant employees. 4, noting the steps and timeframes within the next stage consultation plan as distributed to councillors on the 15th of December 2020. And 5, authorise the Chief Executive Officer or delegate to provide a progress update to the relevant unions and provide a copy of the consultation plan for the next stage.
And point 4 would just be note, Cal. Yep.
And point 4, no
No.
steps. Okay, do we have a seconder for that motion? Councillor Edwards. Any opposition? Councillor Hancock, does anyone wish to speak? Councillor Hancock?
Sorry, I thought you speak for the motion and then you speak against the motion.
Don't have to.
But, yeah, I think we're running out of time, so you're welcome to speak, please.
Sure. Thanks, Mr. Mayor. First of all, I'd like to say how disappointed I am in how this meeting has come forward today without the 2 days' notice of the formal request to the CEO and at a time when all councillors could not be in attendance. Once again, it might be legal, but is it ethical for us to have met today when all councillors could not be in attendance to discuss such a huge decision of council as this proposed change to the organisational structure? Once again, it feels like we're rushing the decision through, and I have to ask why. It is legal, but is it ethical? The legislation requires us councillors to be both legal and ethical when we make a decision. The weight of this decision regarding the organisational structure should not be taken lightly, as it not only affects 350 staff members, it also affects our community and will do for many years to come. This will be the biggest decision for this term of council, and we are rushing it through. Yet this council is happy to go slower on other decisions to make sure we get it right. But for this decision, we're willing to rush it through. I would like to thank the CEO, Nola, and their staff, the executive team, for the hard work that they've done putting in the development of this organisational structure that we've seen today. But I believe there is still much more work to be done before this should be released to our staff. Actually, it provides more questions than it does answers. And I don't believe it should be released today. I don't believe it should be released before Christmas. And when it does get released, I think it should be released with a business case. I think it should be released with a budget done to see if we can even afford this. I think we're going to release it, cause angst within our staff and the community, and we haven't even taken the time to do a business case to see if we can actually afford this organisational structure. Councillors, we've heard that the restructure is causing our staff concern, worry and angst. I think as leaders of this organisation and community, it would be uncompassionate and mean-spirited to release this organisational structure a week out from Christmas when they should be enjoying their time with their family. I think it would be uncompassionate for them to receive a phone call at home from the CEO where they don't have any support around them regarding an organisational structure change of this significance that's happening. I think they're entitled to their Christmas break. I think they're entitled to stay at home and have their Christmas break. I don't think we should be asking them to consider feedback for council over their Christmas break. I think they should be considering the health and wellbeing of their family over their Christmas break. I think the consequences of our actions should not have to be dealt with by our staff members. Councillors, I just ask that you take yourself out of your seat here today and you put yourself in the shoes of an employee, who I have been one of this organisation, and they're sitting home because some of the employees that are going to get the phone call have actually already gone on leave. They're on their Christmas break. They're going to get a phone call from the CEO and they're going to have to speak and be told about a restructure that will have implications on their position. They will be at home with their family with no support. They don't have their director or manager around them. They don't have access to that support, and they're sitting at home and they're going to get that. I am concerned for our staff's mental wellbeing. They're on Christmas leave and they're going to get a phone call regarding their position in council. Personally, I won't be held accountable for our staff's mental wellbeing to make this decision. Personally, each and every one of you councillors sitting around this table, yous are accountable for the staff mental wellbeing when they're sitting at home and they're getting this phone call and they don't have their staff. You are actually responsible for the decision you make today as to when we actually do this. It is all about the timing. The when is going to happen. I'm asking you to be considerate of the timing. Why can we not just push this back a couple of weeks so that our staff can have Christmas with their family and not have to think about an organisational restructure of this council and what that means? Think about that staff member that has been ripped out. Their position is being ripped away from one team who they have had a team, and this is not a story, this is reality. We've just seen it in this paperwork. They actually have been working with a team who they respect and like working with. They're actually taken away from that team. They're put into another team without the support of their team. That's the news that they're going to get a week before Christmas. They don't know the people in the next team. As a matter of fact, some of these people have been working in a team. They're actually going to be taken out of a team and they're going to work as a solo person in that town. Yes, they will have one person above them, but they will not have the peers around them that have been working in the same environment with the same issues and the same challenges and the same successes as that they have worked for. This is the news that we're going to give our staff a week before Christmas. What sort of leaders of a community would do this and be so cruel? Councillors, we are responsible for the mental health of our employees, and I believe that this would be so cruel and I will have no part of it, and that is why I am not voting for this to be released a week before Christmas. And I would ask councillors to be compassionate and to think about, these are people. They're not numbers, they're not a position description, they are people. And I would ask councillors to have that compassion and to consider pushing back the deadline of the 27th, even 2 weeks, so that this could happen when we come back from Christmas break. It will still happen. It's not about happening, it's about the timing. This is really poor timing.
Okay, does anyone else wish to speak?
Yeah, Mr Mayor, I'd just like to mention Councillor Hancock's comments. I'd just like to remind her, no matter what decision's made today, whether it's for or against, the decision is a decision of total council.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else wish to speak? Okay, well, I just might sum up on that note. There's a couple of things that I don't believe were mentioned that should be mentioned, is that part of this restructure is that no one will lose employment with council. So I'll say that when Councillor Hancock didn't say that. And also, it's my personal view that no one should be as far as worse off as far as how they're employed. Obviously their job might change, but as far as their conditions, this is a council decision. That's my personal view. I'm not speaking on behalf of council. I'd also like to remind Councillor Hancock that there is also mental health issues by being extremely negative about this as well. So I believe the quicker that we can wrap up the consultation is better for mental health, and I believe all councillors are responsible for that. Letting it drag on, this will have been 4 months with insecurity, so letting it drag on, I don't believe it is any good for the total employees of the organisation. We also have a motion of council that was passed, I believe on the 25th of the 11th, and this is part of the process to get this done so a decision can be made in line with that motion. I'll also remind Councillor Hancock that on Monday we will be coming back, and hopefully all councillors can be there for a final decision. So I'm concerned for all the employees of Maranoa Regional Council, and I'm extremely concerned that at Christmas time people know that their employment is secure, and that Maranoa Regional Council, even though they do make decisions that they care about, that no one loses employment, which in this world of COVID is a very, very important thing. Okay, well, on that note, we'll go to the vote. All those in favour?
Yes.
All those against? 6-2 if I can call for a division. Okay, moving on to C2, tabling feedback received for council's consideration and answer to queries. Do we have a mover?
Mr Mayor, I'll move that the answers be drafted initially by the Mayor and circulated to all councillors for comment prior to formal consideration at a special meeting on Monday the 21st of December 2020.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Ladbrook. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour?
Yes.
All those against? 6-2 if I'm called for a division. Any further business, councillors? Okay, I'll close the special meeting at 11:08 PM and thank you for your attendance.